Why is a ghost in white trying to take a woman to the other world? An astonishing investigation by the psychics, a wedding that ended in a horrific crime, and the bride's eerie revenge. Welcome to Psychic Investigations, a channel of true and impressive stories. Here, people who call themselves clairvoyants undertake resonant criminal cases and unbelievable paranormal phenomena. This is Svitlána. She is 33 years old. She works at a PR agency. She never believed in mysticism until her 7-year-old son Vládik scared his mom with a terrifying prediction.
He woke up at night and said, "Mom, you will die."
Vládik assured his mom that he had seen a fair-haired woman next to her bed. She was looking at Svitlána and whispering something. And the next moment, it seemed like something possessed the boy.
He blabbered incoherently. It sounded like random sounds.
A minute later, the strange attack stopped and the boy fell asleep.
I immediately thought something bad had happened to his head, like a brain injury.
The following day, Svitlána took her son to the hospital, but the medical checkup revealed nothing.
They found no changes in his brain.
Over the next few days, the boy looked frightened and withdrawn. Soon, his mother found an album with very strange drawings under his bed.
There was a picture of him and his dad, and next to them, there was a cross. He said, "Mom, this is you. These are blood stains." It was a terrifying drawing.
Svitlána's son continues to see the fair-haired woman next to his mother at night. The boy almost stopped sleeping because he fears the mysterious ghost might kill his mother.
I fear Mom may be gone.
Soon enough, Svitlána indeed found herself on the brink of life and death. She, a woman who has been going swimming since she was little, almost drowned. She only remembers diving into the pool in the gym.
I went straight to the bottom. My coach jumped in after me. At that moment, I felt like I was dying.
Luckily, she was saved. However, later that night, at home, Svitlána witnessed the mysterious fair-haired ghost.
She's dead. Her face is white, and she tries to grab me by the hands. Everything around me was spinning. The walls were turning upside down.
Svitlána's friend, who stayed with her for the night, only remembers hearing Vladik's scream. When she ran into the room, she saw his mother lying on the floor with her eyes wide open.
She was mumbling something. I couldn't understand her.
Svitlána fainted. The ambulance crew that her friend called was barely able to revive her. The medics assured that she was a step away from a coma.
A medical council was convened, but they couldn't diagnose her.
The examination yielded no specific results. However, Svitlána is convinced it's all the fault of the ghost that's haunting her, and every night she expects in horror to see the stranger from the world of the dead.
I'm terribly afraid I could die.
Svitlána's greatest fear is that her little son may stay an orphan.
I can't imagine what he will do if I die. I really want the psychics to come and help me understand what's going on with me.
Psychics Rubina Cybulska and Jana Pasinkova agreed to help Svitlána. However, on the eve of the investigation, Rubina received a call from her colleague Kayal Alekperov, who was in Azerbaijan at the time. He sounded concerned.
"Rubina, I had a terrible vision. You, Yana, and a dark-haired woman were in a large white room somewhere underground. Suddenly, the spirit of a dead woman appeared. She abruptly shut the door behind her. I heard you scream in the dark. Please watch out.
Does the dead woman pose danger to us?
Please send me a photo of the woman you're going to see. I'll work with it, and maybe I can help you somehow."
My mother's spirit came to me and said, "We will stop death only when we see tears in the river."
The card of the blind bride. I have a vision. There's a young bride in a white dress, standing. Her face is veiled. A man stands before her, and when he lifts her veil, she looks at him but sees nothing.
Is this the ghost of the woman that Svitlána constantly sees?
No. The woman Svitlána spoke about is blonde, and the woman I see has dark hair. But she is directly connected to what is happening to Svitlána. It was all about a love triangle and a wedding that ended in horror. However, we learned about this much later.
Svitlána is waiting for the clairvoyance in front of the building where she lives. Her mother, Larisa, came to support her daughter.
Hello?
I was really waiting for you. Thank you for coming.
When I tune in to the spirit of the woman you feel, I see the following picture. You descend stairs somewhere underground. This is a dream you had.
Yes, yes.
This dead woman was with you in that dream.
She followed me. I tried to run, but she chased me.
In the room where Svitlána stood, all the walls were covered with inscriptions, and all of them were a name, Olha, and they were made in blood. According to my feelings, it was the name of the dead woman.
Suddenly, Rubina Tsibulska receives a call from Kayal Alekperov.
I was just working with Svitlána's photo, and a man's spirit came to me. I know this man. He is from Ukraine. Many years ago, when he was still alive, he asked me for help. He asked to find his daughter. She went out of her apartment and didn't come back. Unfortunately, she was never found. Now his spirit is asking me again to find her because he has to tell his daughter the truth and apologize.
What happened to his daughter?
She's dead, and she's got no head. Her name is Olha.
Olha? This is the name of the dead woman who's haunting Svitlána. What could it be? A strange coincidence? Or is it the same young woman?
My jinns are telling me it's all connected to a wedding.
You see the woman's spirit in your apartment only, don't you?
Yes, yes.
Can we check your apartment? Her spirit keeps coming here because someone here calls her. The voice is male. But whose is it, and who is this she? Have you ever heard about a young woman who used to live here and died?
No, never.
Rubina, I saw the spirit of the missing woman's father again. He said he keeps coming to his daughter's apartment to call her.
Incredibly, I just worked in Svitlána's apartment and felt the same. A deceased man's voice was calling the woman's spirit.
Does that mean that the young woman that I once searched for used to live in the apartment where you are now working?
We couldn't believe it, as it was too incredible to be a coincidence. And so we talked to the old residents of the building to find out who used to live in this apartment.
A military man and his wife lived here, and they had a daughter. And then she disappeared. She left home. What was her name?
Olha, if I'm not wrong.
This is incredible. Is it the same Olha that the Azerbaijani psychic tried to find many years ago? And is it her ghost that's been coming to Svitlána's apartment?
Olha's father said, I need to talk to my daughter. If this doesn't happen, the deaths will continue. His daughter became a killer after death, and someone has already died because of her.
She's looking for something that belongs to her, and she won't stop.
Yana, I felt deadly energy in front of one of the apartments on this floor.
A young man recently died in the apartment next door.
Let's go there quickly. I feel that someone recently died in this apartment. They suffocated.
Yes, it was my husband, Vyacheslav. It was a tragic accident. He drowned, choked on water.
The woman says that she, her husband, and their little son went to the riverside one morning. It was hot, so Vyacheslav decided to swim immediately. Marina stayed on the bank to spread a blanket on the sand and lay out their things. Then she saw people pull her husband's body out of the water. Vyacheslav drowned.
I buried a part of myself with him.
The ghost of the woman that Svitlána sees is to blame for your husband's death. Did you see a female silhouette in your home?
Yes.
Wait, I feel someone suffocating. The energy of death is also coming from this apartment.
A young man lived here. He died from carbon monoxide poisoning.
The victim's name was Serhiy. In the morning, a neighbor felt a strange smell coming from his apartment. The neighbors broke down the door and found Serhiy's body lying in the middle of the room. He was a close friend of the family of Vyacheslav, who drowned in the river. The men died a year apart.
He was a real friend. Burying your family and close friends is the worst thing ever.
An otherworldly force was also involved in Serhiy's death.
One day, through the peephole in the door, he saw a woman in white standing on the other side of it. But when he opened the door, she disappeared.
I'm being drawn outside.
Meanwhile, Khayal Alekperov tries to tune in to the spirit of the young woman who disappeared many years ago.
My jinns are telling me that the place where she lived became the place where she died, and the key to the mystery is in Svitlána's dreams.
The psychic urgently sends a text to Rubina Tsibulska.
It dawned on me. The dream in which you go down the stairs, but you don't understand where. The only place in the building where we haven't worked yet and where you can go down the stairs is the basement.
The clairvoyant and Svitlána go down to check the basement of the house. Fortunately, the door is open.
Quiet. The woman's spirit is here. I see her body. This is the place where she died.
This is horrifying. But the Azerbaijani psychic felt that she had no head. Was she really killed in the basement of the building where she lived?
Hold up. She wasn't murdered. She committed suicide. She hanged herself down here. I asked her, "Why did you end your life like that?" And I get the cards of love and a relative. This man is older than her. This is her father. Her father tells her who she's supposed to love. She was married to a man she didn't love.
Svitlána and her mother had never heard this before. But after the investigation, the psychic's feelings were confirmed.
She was married to a military man, but she didn't love him. They lived together for a short time, and then she disappeared.
My mirror is showing me Olha's name written with blood on the walls again. Her husband wrote it. She was afraid to disobey her father, but she couldn't stay with the man she didn't love. She committed suicide because of her unhappy marriage, and so he killed himself because of the unrequited love for her.
He searched for her for a long time, but he never found her. Thinking she had left him, he cut his veins. When the police came in, all the walls were covered in blood, and her name was written with it all over the place.
What a terrifying story. But why is Olha's spirit haunting Svitlána? And why did she take the lives of her two neighbors?
I see people who found her. But they aren't her family. They didn't find her immediately. They're strangers. And they took something from her.
Her head. That's why Khayal saw her without the head. I saw two dead men from this building play with her skull like a ball. And then they put candles in it.
It turned out that everything the clairvoyant said is true.
They did find the bones and play football with the skull. At that time, they didn't take it seriously. It was just a game to them.
The locals noticed the two teenage boys playing with the skull in the courtyard, and the teenagers showed where they had found the remains. It turned out that residents didn't use the basement at all, and it only housed communication systems. This is why Olha's body was found so late.
Olha's spirit took revenge on her offenders for desecrating her remains, and they died in the same way she did, from suffocation. Svitlána, she doesn't come to your apartment because of this. The spirit of her deceased father is calling her there. For some reason, They don't see each other, and I think I finally know why. Kayal, her father still can't find his daughter because she committed suicide while he died naturally. They are in parallel realms and can't meet.
I'll try to carry out a ritual so that the father and daughter can meet for at least a moment and ask each other for forgiveness. Thanks to this, Olha's spirit should leave Svitlána's apartment.
But Svitlána, you're under the threat of death not because of Olha's spirit. It appears that someone has made a breach in your energy field. It is due to this weakened energy that Svitlána began to see and feel Olha's spirit.
I have no idea how this breach happened.
A woman destroyed the energy shield that protects you. She is alive, and you know her. I saw a strange picture. In it, there was Svitlána screaming in pain with male hands on her neck, and there was also a bride.
The clairvoyants hurry back to Svitlána's apartment to talk to her in private.
The woman who emanates the danger to you is pregnant. She looks you in your eyes and curses you.
I see this woman in a veil. She's a bride. She is your friend. And she curses you, blaming you for seducing her fiancé. It happened right at their wedding.
It was a long time ago. He raped me. At his own wedding.
My God, this is terrible.
At that time, Svitlána was still in school. After the wedding of her close friend, she decided to save money and, instead of calling a taxi, walked home.
They caught up with me in a taxi, the best man and the groom.
And then something terrible happened. The groom dragged Svitlána to the bank of a nearby river.
He covered my mouth with his hand and said, "If you scream, I'll drown you." He made me take off my tights. I was a child, so what could I do? I cried. I clearly remember the sound of water. The water was flowing. He hung my head down.
I see tears dropping into the river.
That was my first experience. Then he told me, "If you tell anyone, I'll kill you. You won't live. I guarantee that."
However, Svitlána immediately told everything to her grandmother and called the police. But the worst thing of all is that the brutal rapist of the schoolgirl was never punished.
His relative works at the police, and so he avoided the problems.
So he deceived his wife, to whom he swore fidelity at the altar. How did she react to this?
His wife came to my house. I was lying on the bed crying, and she came in. And the first words she said to me were, "Aren't you ashamed to look into the eyes of a pregnant woman?"
Seriously?
I'm speechless.
And then she cursed you.
Yes.
Svitlána's pregnant friend was the bride from my vision. The card of the blind bride. It was as if there were a white veil over her eyes. The woman was so blinded by love that she refused to hear the truth about her husband, who turned out to be a rapist.
The thing is that the curse destroyed your biofield year by year. But when you moved to this apartment and were here with two spirits at the same time, your energetic protection almost completely collapsed. That's why Svitlána began to find herself on the brink of life and death, seeing spirits and hearing their voices. But then I felt something terrible. I feel that after the rape, you wanted to take your own life.
I simply didn't know how to live with it or how I was supposed to appear at school.
Larissa, it's strange, but I feel that you didn't support your daughter at this difficult period of her life.
I was away, I wasn't around.
Mom found out about it after some time.
How come you weren't around?
I had certain family circumstances.
You wanted to say a man.
Did you trade your child for a man?
Well, it turned out that way.
It turned out that Larissa divorced her first husband, Svitlána's father. Svitlána was raised by her grandparents, while her mother was working abroad and arranging her personal life.
The man she dated suggested she move to a neighboring country.
They decided they didn't need the girl.
I cried terribly and hugged her, asking to take me with her, but she said, "I will be back in a few days." Every day I waited for her to simply come without even explaining anything.
There is death between you. She considers you dead. What's that supposed to mean?
She left and was gone for a very long time. The neighbors told me my mother was dead.
It's hard to believe, but little Svitlána believed her mother was dead for 4 years. After all, the woman didn't call or write letters.
A mother's love and father's care and protection create an energetic shield.
And you, Svitlána, were deprived of it when you were little.
Svitlána says her mother only started visiting her in the last few years, when she found out that some strange things had started happening to her daughter.
Larissa, today, you witnessed a story where a father decided to apologize to his daughter, but it was too late. I think it's time for you to apologize too.
I can't turn back the time. Forgive me for being such an awful mother. I'm sorry it turned out this way. I still feel guilty and always will, and this is my pain.
I forgive you.
Of course, we will perform a ritual to lift the curse. But Larissa, you must finally reunite with your daughter. Your maternal protection will help her a lot, as the mother's love is stronger than any curse.
If you're impressed by this story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more amazing investigations are coming up.